Okay, coming to you live from the second day of DevOps Days here in Austin, Texas. And I'm here with some of the crew who've been working on the Profile tool and the Cloud Launcher for Sputnik. Why don't you guys introduce yourselves? We'll start with Charles.
Hey, my name is Charles Lowell. I'm a developer with the front side, and I've been working on the Profile tool.
Awesome. Mr. Hippie Hacker?
My name is Chris McClymans, and I work with Ops Code, and I've kind of been involved a little bit at the beginning and just looking at all the beautiful things that have happened since.
Cool. And Mr. Ray?
My name is Matt Ray. I'm a technical evangelist with Ops Code.
And so why don't we start with you, Matt? So just talk about a little bit about what you showed there and set it up, and then we'll go from there.
Sure. So for the Sputnik project, we've launched a plugin framework for adding developer tools, where you would have a series of commands that you would run from your Sputnik laptop. The Cloud Launcher is one example where, given a configuration file, you can quickly deploy infrastructure to your laptop, to a public cloud, a private cloud. You just reuse these configuration files, so switching between the infrastructure that you're targeting becomes pretty trivial.
And so, Charles, you've been working on that. Can you talk a little bit about what you just showed and how it's been going?
Mm-hmm. In reference to the Profile tool, I certainly have always wanted to, ever since all this configuration management stuff came out, apply the same thing to our own laptops, our development laptops. And this is certainly not an idea that I had. This was originally inspired by projects like Pivotal Workstation and some of the stuff that Chris was doing, and since we even have been working on the Profile tool, GitHub released their own personal configuration management framework called Boxen. So what the Profile is it fits in that ecosystem, but it works on Linux and can work on other platforms. It can work with other providers. It can work with Chef. It can work with just inline scripts or whatever it is that you want to throw at it.
The two that you have right now that you showed are Emacs and Ruby. Is that right?
Yes. So what it allows you to do is set up a declarative syntax for configuring your development environment. So in the demo that I showed, I said I want to use Emacs and I want these packages to be installed, and that's all that I said. And I would be able to put that into source control, and then the implementation of the Profile will assemble the appropriate cookbooks from Ops Code and from around the internet. It's actually using a fork. It's using a branch on a fork that Matt has to support, but it demonstrates the flexibility of the tool, right? And we'll assemble the cookbooks. It will use its knowledge of the cookbooks to configure your laptop, the representation or the configuration of your laptop, and then it will generate the Chef solo configuration and actually start the Chef run. So it's in its infancy, and it's a first step. But I'm really excited about it because this is actually I'm very much of a noob in this world, but it's really fun.
Yeah, and I'd say you were the one who brought this whole concept to the Sputnik project, so it's great that you're actually working on it.
Passionate about it.
I'm passionate about it. I want to use
it.
it. I really want to use it.
Exactly. So, Chris, you've been doing some work earlier on, and then you're going to be joining back into the group, and can you give us just little thoughts of what you've been doing?
Sure. I think technology is cool, but it's only useful if we can put it into people's hands, and that's why I started working with instant infrastructure. Some of the kids that I met in Cambodia, and I taught them how to boot this USB stick. I still kept in contact with them, and we took this idea of can.cd, so code can continuously deliver some amazing things. So I actually walked through with Riksmi over a Google Hangout, and we went to code.can.cd, and he downloaded a virtual box, and he walked through setting up knife setup II Cambodia, and that was an organization on hosted Chef, and he put in his username and password and then said Chef client, and he turned that node off and went to the web UI and created a role for a captain, for a nurse, and for a doctor, and then saved those computers. And now he knows how to deploy stuff on Chef, and we did that in about 15 minutes. It was fun.
That's
so it's
very
like
cool.
USB sticks and then connecting it to laptops. It's gonna be fun.
And Matt, on the cloud launcher side, what have you been doing? What did you show?
So I had it working with Linux containers, a lightweight virtualization that we can use on the Ubuntu laptops, where we would deploy locally to the LXC. It's like having your own private cloud on your laptop, and then once you're happy with the code that you have running locally, you can run it on your favorite cloud, whether it's an OpenStack deployment or some other public cloud. That's what the goal is to just reuse as much as you can without having to know much about where you're going.
Right, and today this exists in Juju that comes with it, but what we are doing is we're doing also another choice, which would be what you're doing, which is Chef-based.
Yes. So it's actually based on an existing tool called SpiceWeasel that I've been working on in the Chef community for a couple years now, and people really seem to like it, and so there's actually a lot of adoption around it. And so the Sputnik Cloud Launcher takes a simplified set of the features that it supports just to make it more accessible.
Cool. And then just to close off, what is sort of the next milestone people should look for, and how can they get involved? We'll start with you, Charles.
Well, the biggest things that I see as a priority is documenting the process that we've been through to kind of show how you go about developing profiles. And then what's missing, kind of a key piece of the puzzle right now, is how do you share the profiles that you've written? Where is there going to be a central place to look them up? Is it going to be you just have to reference a URL, and each one is going to be just it's kind of its own one-off? Or is there going to be some sort of searchable index? Do we use an existing thing like Ruby Gems to manage dependencies and do discovery of the different profiles? So I mean, it's a really, really complicated solution or complicated thing, and everybody has kind of their own way of doing it. But I think the next thing is really showing people how to develop profiles, how to share them, so that the ecosystem can grow.
Excellent. Chris?
So I want to make sure that people can actually do these things that we can do themselves. And so u.can.cd is an easy way to do 3 easy things. You fork, and you change the name to something that means something to you, and then you show by the HTML file. It would be really cool if we could show people what is possible with Sputnik. Somebody should fork that, say sputnik.can.cd, and what have you shown us today?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And Matt, what do you? What's next for you?
So the next short-term features will be refreshing existing clusters of infrastructure, nailing down the LXC support, of course, and that's kind of the short-term goals, and then kind of evangelizing it further within the Chef and the greater developer community.
Cool. Yeah, and people can check this out at GitHub/Sputnik, github.com/Sputnik. And I'd like to thank Matt, Chris, and Charles. Thanks you guys so much.
Thank you.
Thanks you.